Some of you don't. What he was referring to is we went through in some of the workshops we've talked about the concept of body snatching and having your astral field being manipulated by forces from the fourth dimensional field or higher. And he had undergone some problems with that. And fortunately, with working with the guardians and with the energy techniques that we are introducing, he was able to get that out of his field, and he's been wonderful ever since. So he wanted to come up and say hi to the people who knew a little bit about that story and why he hasn't been here for the past number of workshops, because he was recuperating home. Okay, well, looks like our sound systems are in order now. I want to thank you all for coming. Are we on film? Can I just do my thing? Okay. Got audio video department over here is Mark Darling, and I'm very grateful for him because he's making it available, all of the presentations available for other people who want them on video and things. So it's worth sometimes waiting to get things set up. Now tonight is kind of I wouldn't call it a lecture, because that's when somebody kind of stands there and talks at you. I wouldn't call it a workshop, because in my definition of workshop, for anybody that's been to mine, that means Mylar's up here and lots of information given to you and kind of crammed at you, kind of like if you were in a college or high school or something. This is neither of those. I haven't found a term yet, lecture, workshop. There's somewhere in between. Possibly an energy clinic might be a good way to describe what I would like to do tonight. Now, the theme of tonight's presentation is learning to use holistic healing applications, not just healing, but the whole holistic perspective. Holism is about becoming more whole, body, mind, spirit. And it's about bringing that perspective into your daily life and into the world through your daily life and your contact with other people. What I'd like to accomplish tonight in exploring the art of relationships, which is really what makes the world go round. And if you look at the world the way it is out there, there are some really poor attitudes and beliefs that are being used as we relate to each other and to society. If we look at the business world, for example, that we're all very dependent on just to function here, we find competition is the main focus. We find step on whoever you have to step on to get where you need to get, or somebody else will step on you. These are belief systems that are right now really at the core of our culture. And it's because of those belief systems that our culture is eroding. And it will continue to erode as long as those belief systems of competition, survival of the fittest, judgment toward others rather than loving others. There's so many sick thoughts in our world that we wonder why our world has sick manifestations. Economies that are unstable, people that are warring with each other. You can live in an apartment building with, say, 400 people. How many of you guys really get along with each other? Most of the time, you just kind of hustle by each other in the halls and, sometimes whisper behind doors about can't stand the one in 6B, that kind of thing. And you don't really know them. You've just seen them and you think you know what they're about. We've been taught through our culture, through being raised in this system, certain ways of using our minds. And in the ways that we've used our minds, we only perpetuate the problem. When we go into holism, we're going into a way of using our minds that's from a higher level of consciousness. And that will change the things that go on out here. Now, for the people that have been here before, that are familiar with my work, we've gone through the science of Kilanta, and we've gone through the interdimensional structure. We've gone through the ascension teachings as far as the structure of 15-dimensional identity and the DNA and the fire letters and how all of that goes together. Some people haven't been in those workshops. So what I'm going to do is I usually try to do when there's a mixed group. I have to kind of bounce back and forth between levels of knowledge. If some of the stuff you've heard, that's because the other people who weren't here haven't heard it. So I'm kind of going to try to integrate it. But I want to keep it focused, and I want to keep it short and sweet as far as what I talk at you tonight, because I want to get down to energy work. If we're going to heal ourselves, heal our apartment building that we live in, heal our job situation, heal our world, we need to use our minds differently. For the people who don't understand yet the paradigm of 15-dimensional structure that we use, that is very scientific, for the people who need it to be scientific before they'll accept that it's real, we have that. But we're not going to focus on that tonight. That's the intellectual stuff. There's a place for it. We have it. What we're going to focus on tonight is building bridges of light. Now, building bridges of light is something that can be done when we understand interdimensional structure. It's something that can be done when we realize light. What does that mean? Okay, what we perceive as light here, inner light, outer light, is something that has an oscillation rate that's faster than that of our own. When we are closing our eyes and imagining light, we are imagining wave patterns of higher frequency. So when we do visualizations, when we use our minds creatively inside, we are creating literal manifestation patterns by using the core of creation, which are scalar waves. We're directing them with light. So when we do the exercises that we're going to do tonight, and I'm going to focus on doing, because you can read about riding a bike, and you're not going to be able to ride it. You can learn about riding a bike by reading about it, but you have to get on the bike and do it if you expect to be able to ride the bike. Tonight, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about justifying the existence of 15-dimensional structure and explaining exactly which frequency is which. That's what Cathara Healing will do that for you. What we're going to do is energy work. We're going to do a couple of different exercises. And that's why I have my notes here, because I want to see which ones. Now, when I come up here, I feel the energy in the room, and I do it from the heart chakra. If you ever go into a group and you're speaking, feel from here and project energy out from here. Spread it through the room. You'll get a feel for where the consciousness is in the room. I try to direct what I'm speaking about to the consciousness in the room at the time, which makes my program a little more flexible than somebody that just, A, B, C, D, E, whether or not you're ready to hear it or want to hear it. Tonight, I want to introduce energy techniques. What we're going to do in the beginning is learn some basic energy sensing. Now, we've done some of this in other workshops. But what I want to do is first take you into some basic hands-on energy sensing. Then we're going to pair up. And we're going to do this in pairs. And we're going to first learn to sense ourselves in something else. Then we're going to learn to interrelate with each other in a little bit different way. We're used to holding our energy fields in a certain way compared to other people in other cultures. Some people hold their fields way out here, and when you move past them, you get a really strong feeling of who they are and a real emotional feeling. With American culture, and especially in big cities, you find a tightness in the fields. We don't want to interact with what's around us. We've seen enough and been through enough where we tend to go and pull our fields in. We desensitize ourselves that way, and it's a survival mechanism. If we're going to learn the art of a relationship and the art of bringing the holistic view into relationship, first we need to become aware of the fact that we have our auric fields, our chakra systems. Then we have to become aware of personally how we're using them right now. We can do that most easily sometimes by being put in a situation where we need to or have to interact with another person. Usually we interact in kind of like horses that go down the street with those little blinders on so they don't get distracted. We just move around like that. You're not going to experience the person that walks by you. You're going to see them and flash, they're gone. Tonight we're going to start with experiencing some more of ourselves. Then experiencing each other a little bit. First in pairs. We'll find out what it feels like to feel another person. Not somebody who you happen to have a relationship with yet, but somebody just like somebody you might meet on the street. We're going to do some exercises that will take us into a level of emotional soul level intimacy that most people at first are going to kind of go, ooh, like, I don't want to do that. You'll find one of the first reactions to some of the exercises is, especially when you like have to, turn your chairs toward each other and you're knee to knee and you're looking at each other's eyes. First you kind of get giggly. This, you do. Then you kind of that's a defense mechanism, by the way. That's part of the way the personality says, I'm not going to engage. No, I'm going to be right here and I'm going to hide behind myself and I'm going to give you a giggly little bouncy energy thing and you can give the same to me and let's shake hands and leave. This is how most people are taught to react to each other. But you're not going to be able, for one, to become more aware of what needs healing in your world if you desensitize yourself to it all the time. Within this group, anyway, we're in a situation where we're dealing, for one, with teachings and with energies that address the fact that yes, there's negative stuff out there, and yes, there are certain times you do need to protect yourself. We're not telling you, open your heart chakra, open your astral field, and let anything that wants to come in. You know, some people that work with energy, they work with the love concept, and love is important. We do need to love each other. But when they tell you just indiscriminately, open your heart to everybody and everything, your heart chakra happens to be connected to your astral body. It means opening your astral field to anything that wants to walk into it. There are ways that we can learn to do intimacy without bringing harm to ourselves. We can learn to interact and feel each other as beings while still protecting the integrity of our own biofields. One of the first things that you do when you're doing any energy work, and the people who are in Kathara healing know this, is the Maharic seal technique. There's the long version that's in the Kathara healing program, which is better to use because it makes your the energy that you're creating in your field, it makes it stronger and it makes it last longer. But you can do a real fast version that if you happen to be at a workshop and somebody says, okay, now I want you to feel your neighbor, you know, you don't have to worry about, ooh, what might be in my neighbor's field that I don't want to take home with me. Now, most people that have anything to do with this work at all know at least by now that if you walk into a situation like that, just because some workshop leader tells you to open your field to somebody doesn't mean you do it, okay? Unless they tell you first. Here is how you make sure you don't take on anything in the other people's fields or anything from the higher frequencies that may want to mess with you. With the Maharic recoding process that's taught in Kathara Level 1, we get deeply into using a process of 12th dimensional frequency sealing, which creates literally a pillar of scalar waves within the bioenergetic field that will block out anything but your own higher identity structure that tries to get in. Anything that wants to communicate with you or interact with you is going to have to go through your own higher identity structure and get permission, basically. It protects you from astral attack from the fourth dimensional fields. It also protects you from not intended attack, but from picking up other people's goop. We all have goop in our auric field, and once you get your D4 vision on, you'll see it. There's stuff called etheric mucus that looks like long, stringy, icky stuff that hangs in people's fields if they've been sick or if they've had a really rough day at work. You can get all sorts of weird stuff just hanging in your fields without you meaning to have it there. And unless you happen to be somebody who every morning gets up and say, okay, what do my fields look like now? Most of us, you know, even though we know we should, don't get to do that. With the Maharic seal, you don't have to worry about picking up any of the goop from anybody else's field, so you'll be safe when you do the exercises. The exercises that I would like to teach you tonight, now they're not written down. They're going to be available on the video. They're coming through spontaneously, which I'm doing more and more of these days. There's a reason for that. When I work with my higher parts, my higher dimensional identity, to interact with the group directly, if I preset a pattern of things to do, sometimes I need to do that to keep a structure. But I'm not interacting with the group yet. When I'm here and in your energy, I can feel more of what's appropriate for the energies of the people that are in the group. So these exercises are going to be new to both of us. And when you work with your higher identity, you'll get to a point where you could actually do that. Pick up a microphone and say, here, I'm going to teach you this. What am I teaching you? I don't know yet. We'll find out as we go. Because you will learn to trust the Spirit as it moves through you. You will learn to become, in your moment point, a vessel for the direct expression of the one Spirit that is all of our spirit. The one Spirit that many people call God, some people call Source, some people call it universal consciousness. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's all of those things and way beyond those things. But there is a way of being that you learn a level of trust in yourself where you can simply say, let me be a vessel for thy good works. And you know it will come. That's part of my training as I work with giving workshops, because I was born with a Virgo imprint, and I'm not too much into astrology, but there is some influences and there are some characteristics with the signs that do apply to to people born under those signs. Virgos tend to be extremely analytical and perfectionists and do something over 5 million times until it's perfect, even if they could have got by with not too bad, let's get on to the next thing. So for me, going spontaneous is a real step. But that's what I'm doing tonight. Now, spontaneous for me isn't hard in certain ways because I've been trained for many, many years. In order to open myself, I've had to learn things. And I've been trained by working with my own spiritual guidance with the Guardian Alliance on energy technique and those kind of things. So the things that are going to move through the audience tonight are things that I have been trained in. They were part of my own training at different parts, different times. So I know they work. The first thing I want to do is a short version of the Maharic seal, which is getting your 12th dimensional frequency pillar up in your field, so any energy work that you do, you will be fine doing. It will clear out anything that's disharmonic. The reason for that is the 12th dimensional frequency bands contain all of the frequency bands of all the dimensions below them. They represent the Christed imprint, the fourth harmonic liquid light pre-matter imprint that everything manifests on down here. That is the part of our beings that has not been distorted through its processes of moving through the lower dimensional scale. When we realign, this is what the Christian teachings were really originally about, when we realign with the Christed imprint, our Maharic shield, our 12th dimensional identity level, and the scalar grid that holds that level of identity, we are recalibrating all of the frequencies that compose our being, our bodies, and everything around us as we go. We are putting them back to their original state of purity. So when you bring down and bring up the 12th dimensional pillar, you are creating a pillar of energy harmonization, that anything comes into your field, it gets recalibrated to what it's supposed to be. So if there's negative stuff that comes in, it gets reversed into harmonic energy. This is what's useful with this pillar. So a couple people here that were in Egypt with us. We use this technique, and it's not hard to use, but you need to know, that it exists. We use this technique to recode some of the sites over in Egypt, literally, to change the energy grid that certain temples and things were built on because they were being used for ill purposes. And we use the 12th dimensional frequencies to reset those grids to what they were originally supposed to be. So you can use it on planetary grid work, but you can also use it on personal grid work. There's a fast version that I'm going to teach, and I'm going to have to get rid of some of this lighting. I don't know if it bothers you, but I find this very, very bright. Maybe it's because it's coming right. Heard of the process before. We use a symbol code, which is a scalar wave guide, that's called the Hierophant symbol. You can visualize the symbol quickly by simply picturing the image of a flat, two-dimensional Star of David, or six-pointed star. We call that the Merkaba star. And we will picture it in the color of pale silver. The color is important, and even if you can't visualize yet, some people don't have the DNA strand activation yet to get clear visuals, just imagining that you're visualizing it is still creating that energy pattern there, even though you're not perceiving it through the sixth chakra yet. So it's a pale silver image of a Star of David. Cathara Healing explains why that's used. So we'll just imagine that symbol. We'll imagine the symbol at the pineal gland in the center of the brain. Just spend a minute, not a whole minute, just a little bit of time getting a clear feeling of the energy of that thought form that you're creating now, the Hierophant symbol. It's the activation code for your 12th dimensional Maharic shield. Visualize the pale silver Star of David, Merkaba star, in the center of your brain, in the pineal gland. Take a few gentle breaths, and then on a final inhale, and move your energy up to grab that symbol code, and on the exhale, push it down rapidly, down into the Earth's core. And if you feel like you missed the first time, you only got it halfway down, go up to where you feel like it got stuck, and another inhale, and exhale it down into the Earth's core. Now, you can simply take 3 breaths. On the inhale, you'll draw energy in, and on the exhale, you will push energy out into that symbol code down in the Earth's core. And as you do, you will notice a disk of spinning pale silver light emerges way down in the Earth's core, about halfway through the planet. It's a huge disk that goes all the way through the planet and out to the atmosphere. This is the Earth's Maharic shield. Another inhale, draw in energy, and push the energy into the Maharic shield of the planet. You will notice that the shield begins to spin. Then one more inhale, and an exhale. Down into the Maharic shield of the planet. And this time, you'll begin to feel, sense, a little wobbling of that spin. It's beginning to spin faster. And now you'll just inhale some energy halfway up to a point 12 inches below the feet. It's in the earth, but it's 12 inches below your feet. And right now it'll be down on the ceiling, on this floor below you. So inhale from this time from the Maharic shield of the planet. Inhale energy up. It's right below the feet, and then exhale energy. And right below your feet, you will notice another shield of pale silver energy pops out, another disc. This is your personal Maharic shield. Again, this time you're inhaling energy upward from the center of the earth, upward and into a point 12 inches below the feet. Exhale, and you will notice your own Maharic shield, pale silver shield of light, disc of light below the feet, begins to spin faster. And on this next inhale, exhale, we're going to bring enough energy up with enough force to pop that disc upward into a pillar of pale silver light that runs all the way up through the sun and out to where you don't need to worry about it, and down into the Earth's core. So we're going to inhale energy up from the Earth's center to the Maharic shield of your personal Maharic shield, and push hard. And then visualize the field popping up. It's like a pillar of light that pops up surrounding you. The more you do this, the stronger you will feel this thing pop up. You can get this if you get the synchronization with the breath. And this was only a few breaths. There's more steps to this in the long version of the process. But just by using these steps alone, you have created a temporary 12th dimensional seal on your biofields. You can use this, and I suggest you do anywhere, even if you're going to a rock concert. Just bring it up, do it at home before you go. You can get about 2 hours, hour or two out of this version. You can get about 3 hours using the long version. But the more you do it, the more you will feel this frequency in your field, the more you will feel it run through your body. Right now, when I look into the room from the fourth dimensional perspective, I can see different sizes and shapes of little discs spinning below most people's feet. And I can see varying degrees of a current, a cord of energy that comes up from the Earth's core, that comes up into that shield and is running up through the main vertical current in people. Some are wide, some are small, depending on how much energy they're bringing out. So you have just created something in doing this. It may seem like a silly little, oh, I breathe 3 times and poof, yeah, right. But in truth, once you get to know what you're doing and you realize what you're doing with frequency, and you realize when you're using specific color, you're directing specific wave spectra, because each dimension has a primary wave spectra associated with it, you'll begin to realize the technology you are using. And you know what's funny? Nobody said technology had to be hard. The best and most lasting things in the universe tend to be those that can be as complicated as you want, but also as simple as you need. The Maharic seal that we just did, the quick version, is a beginning point of learning a in your pocket, take it with you anywhere you go, primary energy mechanic that will keep you safe. You can use this if someone is attacking you, if you happen to be walking down the street and a mugger grabs you. If you can keep your focus enough to visualize that stuff, throw it down into the earth core, forget the 3 breaths, just bring it up, pop out your shield and pop your thing up, your pillar up. You can have amazing effects. I had an experience with that when I didn't know how to activate, at the age of 14, did not know how to activate the Maharic shield. I did not know consciously about the seal, but I had one of the guardians do it for me. I was at a movie show, and someone had followed me into the ladies' room and attempted to attack me. And there was nobody else in the ladies' room but me and this man, and he pushed me into the stall and closed the door behind him. And there was nobody around to hear me scream. One of the guardians that I work with popped up the Maharic seal. I didn't know what had happened. All I knew is I could see almost oscillating in the air, this pillar of light around me. And the strangest thing happened. The man stepped back like that as if he'd been smacked with something, looked at me, went into tears and said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. Please forgive me," turned around and ran. And I just kind of came on going, what just happened? It took me years to understand what happened. What had happened was one of my own higher parts, actually, activated the Maharic seal to protect me because they knew I was going to get hurt. This is what you can do for yourself. You can learn to do this for yourself. So now that we're all safe and protected and tucked nicely into our pillars, and for the people who are just getting used to this technique, when you work with me, I've become kind of like a living transmitter of frequency. All right, when you get to a certain point with your DNA activation and your chakra activations, and you have certain agreements with those of higher dimensional fields to help humanity evolve, you allow, or some people do, some don't, but I do. I allow my biofield to be used as a transmitter of frequency. Now, right now, it's like a subtle 12th dimensional sub-frequency that's going out to help sustain all those pillars that you just brought up. So if you're not real good at it yet and your pillar's not really strong, it gets amplified for the fact that I'm holding through my field a group pillar. The group pillar is called the Shaddai-Ur, and it means the pillar of first cause light. It's something that one person alone can't do, but it can be done when two or more are gathered. That was in the line, in the Christian line, when two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of you, be my name, was referring to the Christed imprint. It was referring to the Maharic seal. It was referring to our own Christed levels of identity, as well as those that Christ stood for in coming to bring those teachings to us. So when we're using the Maharic seal alone, we are bringing in our individual pillar of Christed energy. When we are using it in a group, we are creating a part of the pillar of first cause light, which is a planetary Maharic seal. So every time we do it, we help the planet. You are safely tucked into your own little Maharic pillars right now, which means you're not going to pick up any stuff out of my field that you don't want to pick up. This is why I teach you to do that with you first. Because, hey, I'm a transmitter, and if there's anything that you don't want, or your soul doesn't want, or your oversoul doesn't want from me in your fields, you have a right to know how to make sure that doesn't happen. That's why I teach you, seal your own field, make your own pillar first. And whenever you do group work, always keep your own personal seal. You can do group Merkaba work, but not if you let go of your own personal seal and your own personal Merkaba. Some people teach people how to do the group energy work, but they have them open their energy fields to the whole group without retaining the personal pillar. Don't ever do that unless you want to take on God knows what that everybody else in that group is carrying. So you're safely tucked into your pillars, and that is being sustained by the bigger pillar of energy that's being generated through my fields and through the group field. First thing I would like us to do, and maybe we'll spend a lot of time in the dark here. Do you like this? Do you like sitting in the dark? Yeah. Good. Good. I'm finding that much more peaceful. What I'd really like to do at some point is have a place where I can have nice candles and maybe some real peaceful music in the background, but we don't have the ability to get all that together. We're on a mad dash to get to New York on the airplanes and all that, so it's a little hard. So this is good anyway. What I want to do first is an energy sensing thing. We're going to do it in two ways. Now, everybody, I think, has an object with them, some type of object. It can be a pencil, it can be a tape recorder, something you can physically hold in your hand. Doesn't matter what it is, preferably something small that you can put in your palm, but if it's bigger, that's okay too. Just make sure your palm, your left hand, is on it. Put your left palm on the object. And just take a few relaxing breaths. You don't even have to look at the object. First, I want you to feel its shape and its weight in your left palm. Try to get a feel for its weight. Once you start to get a feel for the weight of the thing in your left palm, transfer it over into your right palm. And try to sense the subtle difference that object will feel like from one palm to the other. The weight of that object will feel a little bit different from one palm to the other. See if you can detect which it is. Which is heavier? Because there's an answer to that question that has to do with how your energy fields work. You can try it again. Put it back in the left, feel the weight, and put it over to the right. Feel the weight. Try to get a feel for which hand it feels heavier in. Okay, you can speak that out loud if anybody wants to say, if anybody feels it. Very good. You guys are great. Do you know why? That is your magnetic chakra, as far as the center palm chakras go. It is drawing that energy to you more fully. It is literally making the weight feel heavier because it has your body is pulling in a stronger draw while it's transmitting out this hand, which is pushing away, which will make it seem lighter. That was good. I didn't expect that many people to be able to pick that up. Everybody said left hand. That was excellent. Yeah. Okay. Now what we just did was take a regular object and begin to feel some of its energy qualities.
Does that work the same for left-handed and right-handed people?
Yeah, primarily, unless they have pole reversals. There are, like, I'm left-handed. Okay, that means I have actually a stronger current running through my, pulling in my left hand than I would if I were right-handed. You will get whatever hand is dominant will be a stronger imprint than the other one, but they still basically work. They're both electromagnetic. You have the palm chakra in the left hand draws energy in, and the back of the hand transmits energy out, where it's the reverse on the right hand. The right palm transmits energy out, and the back draws energy in. Okay, so that's the basic structure of the body, whichever hand is the dominant. You just may have a stronger pull on the magnetic current that you do on the push if you're left-handed. That's the case with me. But some people, it depends on the wiring too. It's not that simple to say just because I'm left-handed, does this mean I'm always, have a stronger drawing current. I think that answers the question, though. Does that answer the question? Okay. All right. Now we did a little bit of sensing of an object, just the energy, just the weight of the object. If we go back into core principles of creation, we realize that object isn't really there, and neither are we. We're just all energy signatures. We are formations of consciousness. We are all energy. This is what we need to begin learning to experience each other as. Ourselves, each other, and the world around us. Because this is where we start to learn things. And we start to see beyond the illusions. Because bodies and buildings and matter forms are illusions. Nice solid illusions when you're down here. But they do not tell you the truth of a being. They do not tell you the truth of a reality that you walk into. You may walk into a beautiful room with beautifully whitely dressed angels, and they could be devils in disguise. If you can't sense those energy signatures, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between energies that are positive and harmonious and energies that aren't. So we're learning to sense energy signatures. I want you to go back to the object. This time I simply want you to put it in your left hand. Forget its size, shape, and even forget its weight. What I want you to sense for next is a quality of temperature, heat versus cold, that you will feel not so much where the object touches your palm, but in the energy just a few little, like quarter of an inch around the object's etheric body. We'll give you a temperature read. You can do this with any object or any person. Begin to detect temperature in the energy field. Once you get where you can detect temperature a little bit, the next thing is to move your consciousness into the center of the object. This you can do in a variety of ways. Some people just have a natural flow where, okay, that means put my consciousness here, and they shift. Other people go, how do I do that? How do I move my consciousness into something else that's stuck in my head? If you're one of the people who feel your consciousness is stuck between your eyes and your head, like most of us are trained to have it focused there, visualize your consciousness as a point of white light in the center of your brain and put it wherever you want it. If you want it in the center of that object, create an energy line between the center of your brain and the center of that object. And now a portion of your consciousness, as a form of a little white dot scalar wave, is in the object. Try to get a feeling for what that part of your awareness is experiencing. Try to get a sense of the energy. How fast or slow does the energy inside that object seem to be moving? It will also have a sound to it. There is a tone that goes with it that you may first feel before you hear. You may feel it as a vibration. Try to experience the reality of that object rather than the illusion of its matter cloaking. It's there. Once you begin to feel the reality of the energy signature, you're beginning to experience the object rather than just perceive the object. You are beginning to be able to directly cognate some of what it means to be that object. For that object is composed of units of consciousness, just like you are. By sensing that object, you are sensing another field of consciousness. And if you can do it with an object, you can do it with a person, an animal, a plant, a group of people, a planet, or the universe. Energy sensing, basic energy sensing skills are like basic bicycle riding skills. The more you use them, the more you develop the balance, to the point where you get the balance and you just hop on and go. But little exercises like this take you to a point where you get sensitized enough to do the next step. Now the next step I'd like you to try is put the object aside for a minute. We're going to use it one more time, but it's going to be hard to without a mic stand. I want you to put your palms together, first till they're touching, and feel the heat. Feel one palm against the other. And then move them about 1/8 inch apart. And still try to sense the heat that's there. And then kind of move them in and out just a little bit, back and forth. I'm going to show you this and then pick the mic back up because I can't do it with the mic in my hands. Okay. Now put them up like this. Move them around, a little circular, then in and out. You'll begin to feel fuzzy energy in there. You're feeling your own etheric body. If you don't believe you have an auric field, feel this. You do have one. You just have to focus your attention on finding it. And that's just the beginning of your auric fields. Feel it. Try to build it up. There's going to be a current taking place between the two palm chakras, magnetic and electrical. Electrical will run through magnetic, and you have a closed circuit between the two. You can build the charge by breath. Breathe in, hold it in the heart chakra, throw it down the right hand, transmitter, then inhale it back up this hand. And every time you circle the energy breath that way, you will throw more energy into the circuit in the palm. You can get it to the point where if you close your eyes and breathe and then throw it, you will find your palms actually jump at the surge of energy that ran down. You can play with this at home. You can get to the point where by moving this energy in and out and synchronizing with the breath, you will start to feel what almost feels like a metal rod. It can get so strong in there. It becomes a rod. You could pretend that you were holding a metal tube here, and it moves that way as if you were, and if you go off of it, it'll be like dropping the tube. But you can get to the point where you feel a solid, not physically perceivable, mass of energy. Yeah, it's hard to use. I need the third hand. I guess I'm having a hard time with the mic here because he's not picking up on the thing. Anyway, when you do the thing with your palms and you build that circuit of energy, the more you do this is a great thing to do to play. If you want something to do when you're bored instead of doodling, do this. Nobody knows what you're doing. They don't care. There's a guy over there playing with his hands. Who cares? Yeah. Every time you do this, you strengthen your ability to be sensitized. You strengthen your energy sensing ability in the palms. The palms are important. They're receivers. They're like feelers. We picture aliens and things with like little antennas, guys from Mars and the whole bit. Well, you know what? We're walking antennas. We're walking scalar waves. And they are antennas, and they draw in energy from all over the universe. When we begin to sensitize ourselves to being aware of the energy that we carry, we begin to open up a whole new perceptual level of what reality is about. We begin to be able to see reality and to experience it directly. So play with your hands for a couple of minutes. I'm not going to let it go for 5 minutes here. Just for a couple of minutes till you can build that current. I want you to be able to feel it as if there's a bar of energy, or a bar of metal, let's say, in between there, a circular bar of metal or a tube. And pretend you're holding it first. And then pretend you're moving it a little, and you have to move the palms the right way together, or you drop the bar. If you move this one too fast, you drop it. When you play with this enough, you can get to the point where you feel a solid current built there. And where this hand moves, this one will want to go in its opposite direction. You will find a very active circuit. Once you find that, you can begin to cup the hands, in the praying, kind of an exaggerated praying hands position, and begin to make that rod of energy turn into a ball. And with the breath, you simply energize it more by sending energy from the heart chakra down through the right hand. And before you suck it in with the left hand, with the inhale, let it roam around in that ball for a while and strengthen the energy current there. Begin to feel it tingle at the fingertips, where now you're getting your fingertips activated. Because you'll be able to feel it. You can play with this enough where you can get it feels like a basketball of warm fuzzy energy in there. And you can use that for a lot of things. Old martial artists used to use it to wipe people out when they were doing their confrontational battles and things. But we're going to use it for love and healing purposes instead. Okay, now what you've just done is sensitize the palms, the neurological structure, the brain. You've opened up new currents of, let's turn these switches on. We're encountering a new set of tunnels, let's say, and there's light switches here. You just turn the lights on in a certain set of nerve endings that you don't usually pay attention to. And when you don't pay attention to them, they go dormant. So now that you have that sensitivity built up, I want you to pick up your object again. Whatever object you were holding before. Put it back in the left hand. And now with the inhale breath, put that little spark of your consciousness in the center of the object, inside of it. The inhale breath. Inhale a replica imprint of that energy up your arm and into your heart chakra. And then exhale it out into the heart chakra. Do you experience any more of a reality of that object than you did the way it was done before? Can you feel a little more, perhaps, temperature variation, a little more strength in whether it vibrates fast or slow, a little more sound, perhaps? Usually, by sensitizing your own system first, you will be able to experience much more of the energy reality of something else that you're trying to understand. Crystals are wonderful for doing this with, because crystals have a consciousness that's very similar to the structure of our original DNA silicate matrix. So crystals and the consciousness they're composed of actually speak to our biologies in a direct cognition sort of way. And they have their own type of consciousness, and there's a sharing that happens. I would have liked to have had a bunch of crystals to give you, but I'm still trying to find ones that I can afford where I could give them to a bunch of people. Now, once we get sensitized to a little object, the next thing that's helpful is to become more sensitized to ourselves. If becoming sensitive to what is really going on around us is a way to assist in enhancing the art of relationship into a higher level, into a holistic view, then it's worth spending the time developing these skills, these little things to do with your energy and your attention and your mind. I want you to be able to go home tonight with an experience of running and paying attention to these energies. So we're going to try to go into ourself for a minute. And there's a lot of ways to do that. Meditation is great. But there's one portion of the self that has been dormant for many, 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 many years, many centuries, many thousands and thousands of years. It's our core imprint. It's a seed. You call it the seed of the diamond sun. which refers to the DNA matrix that we originally carried, the 12th strand. At the base of the spine, there is the seed of the diamond sun. That was our original connection to our avatar levels of identity in pre-matter, before we entered the matter systems. Just like you moved your consciousness from between your eyes and the middle of your head down into an object, you can do the same thing into different parts of your body. You can do it into anything. Once you learn to move your consciousness into something else, you can experience directly the energy signature of that other thing, because you have become one with it. And you will take on a part of its pattern temporarily, so you can experience cognition of what it is. If we want to find a portion of our original heritage, our original avatar selves, we need to get in touch with the seed of the diamond sun. But before we do that, it helps to get in touch with the body, because most people in our society are holding their fields in a way, their biofields in a way that they desensitize the bodies, because it would be very painful to experience the chaotic vibration that is running around in our cities and in most people's fields. So we just desensitize ourselves to it. If we learn to look at ourselves in a way where we realize that our body is a part of our consciousness, not just a shell we walk around in, this is a beginning in becoming self-sensitized and becoming more aware of who we are as a self. And if you want to become more aware of other people and more aware of how to raise the consciousness of the planet higher, it starts with you. It starts with the self. I remember this exercise. I'm remembering here, so I'm giggling to myself. I remember the first time I tried this, when one of the guardians that I work with had told me to do something that sounded absolutely ridiculous to me. He said, "I want you to talk to your knee." I said, "What?" It sounds the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What are you talking about? And said to me, "Every part of your body is a station of consciousness, and every part of your body holds a piece of cellular memory that belongs to you. You may find your Atlantean lifetime lodged in your Achilles heel. You may find your memories from your 3rd birthday party in this lifetime stuck behind your ear." The body holds parts of your consciousness and parts of your cellular memory. That's why when there's areas of the body that are malfunctioning, it's part of the consciousness that's malfunctioning. There's something disharmonic there. So we need to begin really experiencing ourselves as energy bodies and stop getting brainwashed. It's brainwashing. Our culture brainwashes us into looking at ourselves as, this is me, and I have a consciousness and probably a spirit somewhere. They've got it all wrong. And it's really done in a way to keep us disempowered. No, consciousness is what you are, spirit is what you are, and this is a manifestation of that. This is a part of you, and you have to reclaim it if you want to start healing. The first relationship you heal is the one with yourself. Okay? So we're going to start getting in touch with ourselves for a little bit, and this is an exercise that's best done at home, alone, where there's nobody to bug you. Unplug your phone or whatever and have a nice peaceful environment. I'd suggest at first not putting on any music or anything. They'll distract you, and turn off the lights. Because we're so used to not hearing our body consciousness speak to us that any kind of distraction can drown us out. So you might not get a lot of effect out of this here, because you still have other bodies next to you, and you still have light in the back. Sensory deprivation is a good place to try this in. As little sound, as little light, as little sensual distraction as possible. It's also best if you lay down, if you can lay horizontally on your back, which I don't think there's room for us all to lay down on the floor, so I won't ask you to do that. But imagine yourself anyway, at home, laying on your bed, totally peaceful, no distractions. First thing, and you can do it while you're sitting here too, is take that little dot of your consciousness that we had you put into the object and expand it into a ball that your body can fit inside of. And put that ball around your body as if you're standing inside of a sphere of light that is your consciousness. Now move that ball of energy, a sphere of energy that's around you. You're sitting in one place. Move that energy through you from front to back and let it go out the back as if that ball just passed through you. That ball of energy that you just sent through you is a part of your consciousness that just picked up a scan, an energy imprint of what it passed through your body. You can scan anything this way. You can use a flat plane of energy and just run it through what you're trying to understand, what object you're trying to sense, what person you're trying to understand. With your body, you can run that ball of awareness through the body. It picks up an imprint. And then bring that back into the center point in the middle of your pineal gland. Condense it back up into a little tiny spark of light. So you just got a sensory read on an object, which is your body, which is a form of consciousness like any other object. Now, with that read, I want you to take the object to the first part of your body that comes to mind. Don't think about it. Just first thing, body, part. What is it? Put that dot there. That's allowing your higher self to take that read that you just took and tell you where you need to put your attention right now. It'll change every time you do it. Find the body part that you get a feel or a voice in your head saying, put it in my knee. Put it there. Station that little dot of your consciousness down there. And now imagine yourself inside the sphere of energy again, but this time you're tiny, 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 tiny. And you're right down there as a little microscopic self. You can picture a little tiny body of you way down inside the sphere of light, inside that body part. Now you're a little you inside your body. Stay down there for a minute till you get the feeling. It's almost like an Alice in Wonderland feeling. You get a sense of, I'm big here and I'm little tiny down here and everything feels big around me. You can feel a size difference when you get into this energy space. From that energy space, once you can start to feel the bigness of your body consciousness and the smallness of this little part of your consciousness that you created, then you're going to request from your body consciousness, please release the memory you hold here. I'm ready to know. Release the memory here. Some people get it in running movies. That's what happened with me. As soon as I started talking to my knee, I was amazed because my sixth chakra just blew right open and I had incarnational, little snapshots of incarnations flashing through really fast. And I could slow them down, mentally command them to slow down, and they would. And I could look at them and I would immediately remember being in that life. Every part of your body holds a part of your record. If you want to find out more of who you are and become sensitized to yourself, take yourself on a vacation and go nowhere and lock yourself in a room where nobody can bother you and spend some quality time with the most important person in your life, which should be you. Everybody else is important too, but without you, you have nothing here. So you should be the most important thing to fix, to heal, to harmonize, to love first. It's not selfish. For once you can value and cherish you, you will be able to value and cherish the yous in everybody else too. For homework, if you want to really expand your sensory capabilities, which activates more DNA, by the way, the more you do it, the faster your DNA activates, the higher strand content you will get. Go home with that concept of the little you, taking a little dot of energy, running field scan this way through the big ball of energy, condensing it down, putting it back in your head, then putting that in the first body part that comes to mind. And letting it tell its story. Say, release the cellular memory here. I'm ready to know. There'd be a reason why some part of your consciousness directed you to that body part in the first place. Another way you can use this to find out more about you, and this is very practical and healing. If you want to heal yourself, you can say, okay, this hurts, whatever it is. If something hurts, there's a disharmonic pattern there. And it may be something you know, a medical condition that was defined or something. Fine, let the doctor labels be on it. But let's go to find out what it's really about. Because those labels are just things that describe symptoms. They're not the causes. Go to a part that hurts. Put yourself in that little sphere of energy, it's a little tiny microscopic you. Go into the hurt, the part that hurts, which usually is held like this. You'll find the energy. It's as if the energy in that area is really just holding itself very tightly. The body is doing that so it doesn't have to feel that hurt. It's almost like trying to contain it so it doesn't spread. That needs to relax for the hurt to heal. First you have to get through the resistance to healing, which is the body trying to shelter itself from feeling more of the hurt. With your little self, your little spark of energy, put into the hurt area. Simply breathe for a few minutes. Because at first you won't feel anything, because there's that defense mechanism that does not want you to feel that hurt. And it's a defense mechanism you put up there yourself on a different level, on an unconscious level. Breathe in that space and imagine the hurt area as having color. And let the color just come to you. It may come to you in words, this is red, or it may come to you in images of color swirling, or it may come to you in pulses of color that push on you and make you feel uncomfortable. These are energy qualities of the disharmonic energy in the hurt area. Once you can begin to feel that, which will take a little bit of time sometimes to get past that resistance to knowing, you can put yourself in your little sphere of light, and you're still protected in there. The hurt's not going to get you. This is a place where you can observe the hurt, and you can begin to heal it without being consumed by it. And you simply talk to that hurt. You talk to your body as if it were a thing you respected, but not a thing, a person. It is a part of your personhood. It is consciousness. Our bodies are composed of the same thing everything else in the universe is composed of, and that is consciousness. When we begin to realize we're walking around in something that's like our best friend here, a friend that we don't even realize we have, something we abuse and misuse and push and make it work too hard and all these kind of things, this has a whole consciousness all its own, and it will talk to you if you let it. You can go into the hurt area and say, okay, we're a team here. This part of my consciousness and the part of my consciousness that you are working together. And the body will feel sometimes as separate from you as you feel from the body. You may find it having its own little voice and it'll telepathically talk to you like, who are you? Say, I'm the mental part of this machine. Oh, okay. Well, I'm the cellular consciousness. You may get it in word translation if you're wired for that. You can directly talk to your body consciousness. But even if you don't get it in words, you can go in there and say, transmit the feeling, not just say the words, but transmit the feeling. I want to bring harmony back to this area, and I want to understand the core of this. I want to understand what caused this so I can uncause it. If you want to de-manifest the disharmony, you go back to its point of origin, its original cause, and that may be billions of years ago. Doesn't matter. You could spend like 6 lifetimes analyzing the movie films from your last 5. Just find the core of the vibration that created the disharmony using that little self technique. Breathe in there and breathe in the feeling. You'll start to get a knowing. You may get emotional knowing first, or just a sense of energy around this. Breathe more into the energy and expand into the energy. You will begin to get information. And if you learn as you get information to ask the right questions, you will get the answers you need. If you get in that energy space and you're beginning to start to feel the reality of your body consciousness as a real consciousness, start to feel it. Ask the right questions and it will answer you. What is causing this now? Because there will always be a reflection of the original cause happening now that's recreating it in this life. It will give you advice. Your own body consciousness can help you to learn how to heal yourself. It can tell you. It can tell you in direct impression, or even if it tells you nothing when you first connect with it, you may find yourself shifting behaviors like that. Consciousness. When you're using these other sensory abilities that we're taught not to use in our society, you are moving into a realm of power, having more power to do things that you won't get by using the traditional belief systems. Once we begin a little more sensitized to ourselves, we begin to realize, when you hit the body consciousness, you start to realize, wow, this is a whole level of me that I never even acknowledged before. It's a whole level of me that I really just used, abused, and didn't even think about, because I didn't realize it was anything more than a shell. I didn't realize it was a conscious, living, breathing being that's actually a part of my consciousness. You start to establish a rapport with your body, and you can talk to it, and you can say, okay, body, I want to stop desensitizing myself, at least in the appropriate settings. I want to be able to experience more of the wholeness of reality and the wholeness of other people. I want to be able to heal my relationships and to bring higher consciousness into the art of relationship. Your own body consciousness, your evil twin. As a sack of potatoes you can walk all over and then trash at the end of a lifetime and expect to get all the way into ascension, because it won't happen. You have to eventually bring the part of your consciousness that's making the body up. That's made of units of your consciousness. Eventually they have to come up too if you're going to go through ascension. So your body is very important, and you need to make friends with it. And it doesn't matter if it's short, tall, fat, skinny, ugly, beautiful. These are illusions we have been taught to value. We have been taught to put these images, these fake interpretations, these outside illusions up as our saviors, our gods, our important things, to the point where we see only the outside and we forgot the whole inside that was the real part to begin with. If you want to start sensitizing and start getting your relationship with yourself more whole, more full, spend time using your mind in a new way by literally reserving appointments that you'll discipline yourself not to break, just like you wouldn't break an appointment with somebody else. This is a somebody, this body of yours. And if you want to learn things about what you need to do next personally, better than any doctor alone can do, your body has that information. If you will take the time and you have the ability to realize, you can just move your consciousness into it and say, talk to me. Let me know what I need to do. You will get more sensitive to the answers coming the more you do it. If you do it for a week and you still don't get your body giving you any signals that it's really alive in there, you just are very, very desensitized. Eventually, with practice, you will begin to feel that reality, and you will start to open up a whole new level of your consciousness, your body consciousness. You combine the body consciousness with the spiritual consciousness, with the higher parts of self, and you begin to heal the whole being. So that's one little exercise that you can take home, is going to the different body parts, letting them run their movies if it's information you want, or asking them, what do I do next for healing in this area? Every time you do any type of energy work like that, you're increasing your ability to do more. You're sensitizing more and more and more of your neurological structure. So it's worth doing. Okay, now I want to go back into experiential because that's what I want to focus on tonight. People that know me know I can talk like for 8 hours and never shut up. So I'm going to take you into another exercise. This time, we got to know a little bit about how to move our consciousness into our body part and feel around in there. This time, we're going to take the same energy sensing abilities. We used our palms before. We use the ability to simply move our consciousness into something and get a feel for that energy. We're going to use this between two people now. So what I'd like you to do is, preferably with somebody you don't know. Now, if you're here with somebody, choose somebody else. Okay, break up into partners. It's probably easiest if it's the one next to you. And if you can, kind of quickly just turn your chairs where your knees to knee to knee. I think there's enough room to do that. And if not, you can like spread out a little because there's some seats in the back still left. Yeah, we'll do the knee to knee thing. And learn to think for yourself. You don't need an Anna Hayes tape. You don't need a guru from someplace to tell you what to do. You can move your energy into the space of that child and ask that child's higher consciousness, how can I be of assistance here now? And you can get a direct feel back, but you're not going to get those kind of guidance instructions if you're not sensitized to receiving the answers. So while we're doing the exercises, keep the most part of yourself focused here, but keep the little mentor out here, just observing what is being done. So you get an idea of how these energy mechanics work, where you could get somebody, say if you have a group of people that likes to come over and visit with you, say, let's try this knee thing. I just learned how to do this, right? Sit knee to knee with me, you know, where you can remember enough of this. Get them to start feeling it, too. You know, you can talk until you turn blue trying to convince people about metaphysics. What usually turns people to metaphysics? is they experience something that could not be explained otherwise. So you can help people experience the reality of subtle body energies by just paying attention enough while we're doing these, thinking, gee, who could I do this with at home? Yeah. I want you to be able to do both perspectives. You are learning to just experience right now, but I want you to learn how to create experiences for others by observing enough of what's being done that you can take another person and walk them through something like I'm walking you through. And I'm doing this spontaneous. And tonight there's a reason for that. I want you to learn to trust your spontaneous self. You are a spirit. You are a spirit that has an ascended master level to you. You're just not used to bringing it in. Learn to trust and learn to simply ask the right questions. Okay, I'm in this situation now. All right, master level self and spirit of the other being I'm trying to harmonize with here. What should I do now? And you have to learn to trust the first thing that comes through. You'll get to the point where you can just let it roll. And you know whatever is the right thing for the moment will come through. So in this exercise, we're going to get to know, just like we sense that object in a different way. We used our minds in a way we're not taught to in school. We used our minds to sense the reality or part of the reality of an object in a way that we're not usually tuned to sensing. We consciously made the decision to, instead of looking at this object and saying it's this big, it weighs this much, we turned that off and went into it's this, and experiencing the energy feel of it. The next challenge is to begin doing it just a little bit at first with other people. Because if you do it a lot at first, you get really scared. Because there's a level of personal revelation that comes. Now, if you put your energy into a pencil, the consciousness of the pencil really doesn't feel violated. It doesn't really mind that you're experiencing its pencilness. But people are much more protective because of the way this society is, and everybody runs around judging each other and pointing fingers at each other and condemning each other. We're very defensive by nature right now, and we need to learn to heal that in ourselves if we're going to learn to become a force of healing here on the planet. As long as we're running around with the same disease, we're not going to heal anybody. Healers heal thyself. And life is really an experience of healing. That's what we're all here on this planet for. If we were all perfectly healed beings, we wouldn't be on Earth. We'd be in one of the higher harmonics, in nicer places. We're all here to heal and to help the planet heal and to help each other heal. Now, in this exercise, there's a lot of things you can do once you begin linking the fields. Right now, you have a current of energy that runs on horizontal planes through the in-body chakras when you sit across from each other, particularly if you're knee to knee. If you can, be knee to knee. The knees don't have to touch, but knee to knee is the best because it horizontally aligns the chakras, which allows energy to move more clearly between the two of you. When you were working with someone in this capacity, you might want to remember again that you had a Maharic seal, that pillar of light that you brought up. You might want to breathe a few more puffs of energy into it until you can see it strong or imagine it strongly in your field, because that'll make you feel safer. It's not that the person that you're going to do this with is dangerous. The most part is that there's a part of you that will resist being known. And first you can make it feel safe by letting it know it's strongly wrapped in its own Maharic seal. So there's nothing that's going to come into you that's not good for you to be there, and there's nothing that's going to go out from you that you don't want put out. There are ways with even people that are good at playing astral perception games. There are certain government organizations that actually train people in remote viewing, and they train them in how to put their minds in other people's minds for like mind control and to read their thoughts and stuff. All you do with that is simply put up a screen like a scramble pattern and push it out. So before we do this get to know each other exercise, if there's anything that is just your personal stuff that you don't know this other person too well, so you don't need to share that. That's for later if we ever get to know each other well. Imagine the image that you see sometimes on TV where they block out a face by scrambling just the picture, the part of the picture that the face is on, so it remains anonymous. Well, the portions of yourself that right now you want to remain anonymous, that's too personal, I want you to just put up a scramble pattern wall and move them off to the left and to the back, and just hang them out in your outer field, right about out here. Even put them as far as about a yard out. What you're doing is stationing that information out in the level of your auric field that corresponds to one of your higher identity levels. You're putting it out into like the avatar level of identity out in the outer field. So it's not here to scan anymore. And unless somebody is going to be able to move their field into yours at D13 frequency, they're not going to find it. So you don't have to worry about revealing too much. This may be a new thing for a lot of people, to actually experience a place where you can get to know another person but not have to think about being defensive or how much will I reveal. You're allowing your energy fields right now. You're positioning them in a way to remove that worry and that concern so you can start to get to know the other person. I want you to look into each other's eyes for a minute and just look. Don't think about them. You'll find yourself maybe noticing the shape of them or noticing that right down below the eyes that you can see almost out of the whites of your eyes, you can see their smile. Your eyes do weird things when you actually focus into somebody's eyes. They try to focus somewhere else for a while. Looking into someone else's eyes, especially someone you don't know, can feel very threatening at first. Then it can feel weird, where you find a part of yourself actually feeling like, okay, my face and my eyes are still here, but I actually just stepped back about 3 paces, and I'm sitting behind here watching this happening. Some people go into a state of disassociation because the intimacy is threatening. These are things you need to notice in yourself if you want to be able to experience other people without losing yourself, but experience the goodness in other people. You're going to need to get beyond your own defense patterns and how they posture in your fields. So if you feel, as you're looking into each other's eyes, if you feel a part of you that starts to drift out the back of your head and sits a few paces behind, or moves over to the side, or decides to think about what it's going to have to eat when we go to the restaurant later this evening, these are distraction tactics that one part of yourself is playing with another part of yourself to avoid knowing another being. I emphasize this because I want you to become aware that these are barriers you need to move through if you're going to get to truth. It's okay to look into each other's eyes and simply realize you are gazing into the energy field of another soul. Forget the body in front of you. Just focus on just the eyes, because the eyes transmit the frequencies of the soul. Particularly in a darkened room, if you do this long enough, you'll notice a couple sensations start to happen if you don't drop the focus. Usually first you'll notice the eyes start to burn a little, particularly if you keep them open. If you try to keep them open as long as possible, they'll start to burn a little. They're burning, yes, because they've been exposed to the air too long, but also they're beginning to burn because they're not used to getting that much direct frequency transmitted at them from somebody else's soul. They're beginning to pick up higher frequency, and the cellular structure of the eyes is not used to that frequency. There's a point you can get to if you have enough tenacity to say, I want to see what's beyond this point. If you can keep the eyes open, still receiving that frequency without breaking the current of energy going between the eyes, you will start to get blank spots appearing in the vision. Little blobs of just blackness happen, as if a black hole just came over half the person's face or over their chin or on their shoulder. You will notice blank spots. And what these are you're beginning to perceive higher frequency. You're beginning to perceive the flashing on and off spots, because we are scalar grids. Our bodies are composed of scalar grids. They are composed of units, stationary units of consciousness that flash on and off in different rhythms, like marquees. When you begin to allow your eyes to pull in more frequency from the eyes of another and to transmit at the same time, you will begin to accelerate dormant aspects of the pineal gland, which will allow you to begin to use the vision, physical vision, in a different way. And the first effects you will get will be blank spots, where you're starting to see the black spots between moments. You're seeing faster than time is moving. So you're seeing the blank spots where time isn't filled out yet. But you will also get eye burning. And the reason why it may be worth going through a little bit of the eye burning, not to the point where you damage your eyes, but keeping those eyes open enough. And even if they start to tear, remember when I first was taught how to do this, I had tears running down my face, and so did the other girl. But it was worth it. Because after a certain level of frequency built up, those blank spots got bigger and bigger till the whole face disappeared. And that was neat because it looked like a black hole just ate up their whole face. And first you're thinking, something wrong with my vision. It's actually, I must have my eyes open too long. They're not working. You think it's like a vision problem. It's not. If you get past that eye burning and getting to the point where the black spot kind of expands to swallow the face, the stage after that is beginning to see other faces. You will start to see the incarnational lives flash in and out, in and out. And you will begin to find where you knew each other before. Because no matter how many beings are on this planet right now, we all know each other from somewhere. We were all created out of the same source of consciousness. We are all part of the same one consciousness. So somewhere we all knew each other. If you look through the spaces between moments and start to see faster than time here is moving, you will begin to see in each other other places. And as you see the face flashing of the other self that person was, it will stimulate. It sends a frequency out from that space-time place into your bioenergetic field that will stimulate the activation of the memory of who you were, because you won't see anybody flash in their faces that you didn't know. So if you see a face coming to you, like an overlay or a black spot, flashes, and then you have a face coming out, you're actually seeing someone that someone of you, one of your incarnations, knew before. Or you wouldn't be seeing that face in that person. So by looking at someone else, sometimes you can find things about yourself as well. That's one of the little things you can do. And that's really one of the kind of fun things that distracts the mind enough to forget the fact that it doesn't want to be intimate with anybody. And you can learn a lot about yourself incarnationally about that. But that's not why I had to do this. The reason I want you to do this is because I want you to start experiencing the reality of another person as a soul energy, as an energy field. You can close your eyes now if they're burning. You don't have to stand there and stare at each other to the point where your eyes are falling out. Okay, we picked up some frequency from each other through the eyes, eye transmissions of the soul. Now I want you to close your eyes, and your eyes will be like cheering, saying, yes, thank you. Close your eyes for a couple minutes. And I want you to begin to try to sense the person's energy, just like you sensed the energy of the object. You can do this with each other. It's best if you take turns. And when you're working with people, it is best to ask permission first. You can do it verbally or telepathically. But say to the other person, okay, I would like to experience more of knowing you as a soul, without judgment, without condemnation, without motive, other than to simply know the Godhood that expresses through you. You are a gift to me, I am a gift to you. Let us simply know the reality of the gift that each of us represent. If you go in with that attitude, it is a frequency that you're sending. So you can say words, but if you're going to go get close to somebody else, even if you're standing next to somebody and trying to get them to do something, they know, they sense what's beneath the words. And if the words and the real intention are not congruent, they don't go with each other, it will be the energy signature that they react to, not the words. So you go with the idea and the words. I would like to enter your space and know you in a way that you are comfortable with and intend no violation whatsoever. Just simply to know. And if you come from the heart with that, they will feel the frequency and you will get less field resistance. We're going to play receiver and transmitter. And it doesn't matter which one of you is which. But just take turns. You'll decide amongst yourself who's going to be the first transmitter, because you'll both get to do this. So pick who's going to transmit first. Yeah, it's not a major issue because, in 5 minutes the other one's going to do it, so no big deal. See, one person's going to be moving energy from them toward the other person to get to know the other person. The other person's going to be receiving that energy and saying, okay, I'll let you experience me a little bit. Okay, so transmitter is the person that's going to go on the little voyage into experiencing the other. And the receiver is the one that's going to sit there and allow the voyager to come and experience them. Okay, and we're going to flip roles so nobody, it's fair. We both get to experience both sides.
Are you doing this in the light?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you transmitting the light from the pineal? Or?
Not yet. Okay. Yeah, I'm just asking you to...
Intention.
Yeah, for now. It's just intention. That you're going in. You simply... I guess... And sometimes I just kind of do this, and I'm so used to doing it that I don't explain the process that I use. When I'm sending intention, I automatically go into, because I've just done it so long, I go into, it comes out of the heart center, it comes out of the pineal center, it also comes out of the higher chakras, okay, like the 14th chakra, the 11th, the 10th. And I tend to transmit through all of the chakras the intention that, may I enter your field, may I have permission for this, I come, with good intention and simply to know you as a fellow expression of God with no agenda whatsoever towards you. I tend to transmit that through every one of my chakras. And that way, it goes into every one of my body levels, my auric field levels, but it also, those levels, my emotional body talks to your emotional body, my mental body to your mental body, my physical body to your physical body. All right? So if that was a good point. This person brought up the fact, am I transmitting that just as a thought intention or from the pineal or, from a specific place? You can just say, this is my intention and kind of hail the whole field of the other person, which is a fast way to do it. Or you can just, feel that frequency transmitting through each of the chakras to each of the levels of the other person. I transmit to you goodwill and kindness and a simple desire to share. It will be felt. You may, if you really try this, even this, I wasn't going to put this in there, but that's a good thing to do, so I will elaborate on that. Focus for a minute on the chakras. And, if you don't have the placements, as some people that weren't in the workshops may not have them, they're just energy centers on the body that you can look at as little discs, and the people that have been in the workshops know where they are. Just imagine some currents of energy moving between you and the person sitting across from you on a horizontal plane, like currents of energy, just like you had between your palms. Well, now this is between you and the other person, just like you had between your palms. Most people don't, especially with strangers, sit in a position like this because it opens the fields more to each other. But remember, you still have your pillar up, so nothing's getting out there that you don't want out. Now that you've transmitted intention of goodwill and asked for permission, and the other person's still sitting there and letting you do it, which says permission has been granted, I want the receiver person to simply focus their mind on one thought and use it as a mental mantra, because it will help distract you from worrying about, oh my God, they're going to find something out about me. Because this is what your mind is going to do, because it's programmed to do that, and eventually you'll override that. Simply focus, receivers. Simply focus on the thought, I trust God or my higher spirit, whatever you want to call that higher power, higher parts of yourself. I trust and I allow. I trust and I allow. I trust and I allow. Keep saying it mentally over and over and over to yourself. Don't let any other thoughts in. And yes, it's boring. It's supposed to be boring. This is why mantras are given over and over and over and over. It starts to break up the usual thought patterning and how it's used. It gets you into different spaces so your spirit level, your soul level can start to come through. So just use, I will allow. I trust I trust God, I will allow. I trust, I will allow. You can even just use I trust if you don't want to attach any particular power source to that. I trust, I allow. I trust, I allow. I trust, I allow. I trust, I allow. And receivers also, just bring your energy up as if it's not really focused too much in the body. It's just focused in that thought pattern in the center of your brain. I trust and allow. This way, you're not going to be using any of your energy to posture your fields to push the other person's energy away when they try to come at you. So pull yourself just up into your head for a moment. You'll get a chance to feel them and come back down to your heart. But for now, just get yourself out of the way. I trust and allow. I trust and allow. Receivers. Now, transmitters. I want you to first visualize yourself again in the little sphere of energy inside your head, a little spark of energy, a little you sitting in there. You can see yourself sitting in there in a lotus position, if you like, with long white robes, knowing you're just perfectly angelic in intention and you're a perfectly trustable being. So, of course, this person will allow. Imagine yourself as your Christed self, whatever you might visualize that as being, the highest possible manifest version of what you are. See yourself sitting up there, in the middle of your head, in the center of the spark of light. Now breathe in, and on the exhale, move the spark of light down from the pineal down to the center of the heart chakra. The heart chakra, which is right in the breast area, for those who might not know, right about there, that is connected to the fourth dimensional frequencies. It's the fourth chakra. Fourth dimensional frequencies are connected to the astral body and the astral plane. When you center your focus of your consciousness in the fourth chakra, you are focusing it in the astral realm. And when you transmit from there, you will be taking an astral version of yourself, an energy field, moves through your astral level, fourth dimensional level, into the fourth dimensional level of the other person's field. And as long as you have permission, this is not a violation. So simply imagine now that you have your spark of light down at the center of your heart chakra. You inhale, and you're going to use the exhale breath to push that little spark of light, like a little space bubble that you can go on voyages with. You're going to push it out on a horizontal line from the heart chakra to their heart chakra. And meanwhile, the receivers are going to be saying, I trust, I allow, I trust, I allow. So they're not going to put shields all up over their heart chakras. Because in this situation, you can trust and you can allow without bringing harm to yourself. You already have your pillar up. It's not going to let anything in that would hurt you. Transmitters, keep breathing some of your essence in the form of that little spark of light, little bubble with a little you in it. Gently on the exhale, travel it closer to the heart chakra of the other person. Somewhere in that heart chakra, it will look like, of the other person, it will look like a light at the end of the tunnel. There will be a little spark of shiny light there. That's one of the seed seals in the heart chakra. So aim for that with your little spark of light that you're traveling in. And go to the seed seal, the core of their astral identity. And just simply breathe there for a couple of minutes. And then every exhale, gently expand your bubble out a little to get a feel of the energy signature. Try to imagine yourself as your consciousness is stationed in the heart chakra of the other person. And simply begin to experience anything from temperature variation to feelings of weight or fastness or slowness of energy to emotional qualities. Try to experience the reality of the frequencies in the other person's heart chakra. And while the transmitters are trying to experience the reality of being in someone else's astral field, I'd like the receivers to move your attention down now, out of your head a bit, and down into your heart chakra. And try to feel what it feels like to be felt by someone else. Try to feel yourself being felt. And as you feel yourself, receivers being felt, and transmitters are trying to feel you, imagine that the focus of attention, there's a line of energy that represents the one transmitting and the one receiving. Imagine that they come together, forming a tube of energy, just like the one in the palm of your hands. Form a conduit of energy between each other. And simply allow your consciousness to expand. Try to feel the reality of the person sitting across from you, both of you. Every person will have a distinct energy signature. Distinct and different. Every chakra in their body will have a distinct energy signature. And all of those parts go with the whole person. You begin to notice the difference with this. When you switch partners,